Play that clip, Rock. It's better off
Rock was here a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I want you to meet Trump. He said, I'm going to take you to the White House. So now we're going to do that.
I think that's
and like
a good
there will be lots of people on the left who will be like, how dare you talk to this man? It's like, oh, you know what? You can't sit at my lunch table because I'm just not talking to you. Not talking to you. You lost the election.
Okay. Had to bleep Bill Maher there a couple times. But I'm alive. Did everybody see that? I'm going to go open chats. Good morning, Carrie. Oh, hey, we have new graphics. How about that? I haven't done this in a couple weeks. I don't know if you guys missed me last week. We were traveling in the Midwest. Chloe, how are you? Good morning. Lucas, good to see you. Did everybody see? Last time, a couple weeks ago, I know things weren't coming through like that, but if you guys saw that, give me a thumbs up real quick. Does it look a little better? Chloe, I think the graphics look better, but I'm just not sure. Sometimes they change this or I changed it a few weeks back and things started to go a little haywire. So, yes. Okay, Lucas. So that did come through, right? So what? Should be a Bill Maher clip. Lucas, you said you saw it. Okay. If you didn't see it, what does that mean? 5 by 5. Don't know what that means. Okay. Carrie saw that. Okay. So Bill Maher is going to the White House at the behest of Kid Rock, which, all right. Okay. That's something I learned. New expression, 5 by 5. All right. So Bill Maher is going to the White House to meet Trump, and I will be paying attention to that. I don't know if you guys have been following the trajectory of Bill Maher here I guess it's the last 4 years, but it seems to me I was seeing some of these rumblings. I don't follow him a lot other than when he comes up on my feed. And he used in the past, I mean, we've all just dismissed Bill Maher as an obnoxious leftist, which he was and still is. Bill Maher is kind of hard to remember this unless you actually see his opening routine. He's a comedian, and it's funny. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. I missed you guys too. I was traveling in the Midwest, family visit. It's not a vacation. We separate our travels into visits and vacations. So when it's Midwest family, it's a visit because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of traveling and 3 different families to see and 3 different. We're a blended family. So my wife's late husband's family and then her family. And so I'm battling a little bit of weather, but not much. But anyways, so that was last week's travels, not to bore you with that. But so if you follow Bill Maher, he's a comedian. And I've worked with comedians a lot. I've worked with more than a few comedians when I had Christian Podcast Central, which we still have. And it's funny, as the funniest of the comedians I work with is the darkest guy, man. He's comedians when the funny thing about comedians is when they're not on stage, they are rarely funny. They're very serious guys. And yeah, Carrie. Yeah, it can get a little complicated, can't it? So, but comedians tend to be really kind of serious, almost dark guys. Like I said, the funniest guy I know I should show his testimony, but he won't mind at all. But he's one of the baddest dudes. Before he became a Christian, he was one of the baddest dudes around. And So that's why I think when Bill Maher is serious, he comes across as such a dark kind of angry guy. But I think that, as part of it is his worldview, this kind of quasi-Marxist worldview that he holds, which is now running into the reality of the Democrat Party, and that's what we've been seeing the last 4 or 5 years after Trump's first term, and when Biden got into office, and Obama was, by his own admission, behind the scenes pulling the levers on this thing. Yeah, and he's now fully aware of what Hollywood's all about. I'm not sure how aware he was of it before, but like I said, over the last 4 or 5 years, he's done this. He's been confronted with the reality of his worldview, and he's seeing it in full view. And yeah, no, he's not likable. Anytime someone's offended you don't like them, and I don't find Bill Maher likable at all. So it's funny. There was kind of a tangential experience with Bill Maher years ago. I was a teacher, a high school teacher, and one of the students from my high school was actually on Bill Maher's show. This was probably 25 years ago. His name was Derek, and Derek was a sharp kid, man. He was involved in some community thing in the Black community, and somehow he got on Bill Maher's show. And this was long before Bill Maher was as big. He wasn't as big as he is now, but he was known. And I remember Bill Maher was having some big conflict with some other celebrity or something like that. And I remember my student Derek telling Bill Maher, "Hey, I hear you're still angry at so and so." I said, "Just say you're sorry, just like your mom said, Bill. Say you're sorry." And to this 17-year-old kid is telling Bill Maher, "Hey, like your mom had told you, say you're sorry." And Bill Maher's like, "I'm not going to do that." And he goes, "No, just say you're sorry, and you'll get your friend back or whatever." Bill Maher was having none of it, and it was one of my favorite experiences as a teacher, was watching this student do that, kind of call Bill Maher out on just his anger and his meanness. But that's what that worldview engenders, and that's what I like to bring it back to, because he has this kind of quasi-Marxist. He won't admit it, and often in his routines he talks about, what are we, communists here? This is what the communists did. And I remember when RFK Jr. joined Trump's team, and all the Democrats were telling his wife to leave him. And I remember Bill Maher had the line of, "You're going after his wife? Not even the mafia goes after guys' wives. What's the matter with you crazy leftists?" And I just want to kind of scream at the computer screen now, Bill, this is people were telling you that this is where the Democratic Party was going 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Rush Limbaugh was talking about this 40 years ago, 35 years ago. And you hated everyone who was telling you that this is where the left was going. It was going full Marxist. It didn't just happen overnight. It was there, certainly started in earnest, in force during Obama's term. He told us he was going to fundamentally change the United States of America. And it was a Marxist model. His favorite book was Mao's Little Red Book. Okay. You can't get the Democratic Party around about 2008 stopped hiding what they were doing. They stopped shading it with any, lie or whatever. Gary says he's a closeted Republican. I'd be surprised to hear that, but now he's meeting Donald Trump. And this is, to me, is the equivalent of Nixon going to China back in the 70s. This is huge. This is actually gigantic. So it couldn't have happened a year ago. It wouldn't have happened. This is how fast things are changing. This is how radical what Trump is doing is. You knew you didn't like him. Why did what? What brought that on, Chloe? But I will say something magical happens when people meet Trump. He can turn people around. And like I said, as bombastic and New York as Trump is, he's the genuine article. And I think that comes through. I think it really does. And people, especially now, there's a hunger that's building up inside of us that we didn't know we had for authenticity. And every time I talk to someone about what we're doing now, about this phenomenon of podcasting and what I'm doing right now, I'm just a guy sitting here with a microphone. You guys can't even see the microphone. This right here is what people want to see. And I worked with video professionals for 15 years, 12, 15 years. And the change, I first got into podcasting about 10, 12, 13 years ago, and it was just online audio files. And then it has morphed into videos. And now it's morphed into just a guy, not exactly Robert Redford, but people who want to see someone telling them the truth. And this is what drove the video professionals I work with crazy. They're like, so-and-so, a guy can be driving down the road with his iPhone on his dashboard, make a video and get 1 million views for nothing. And the video professionals with all this expensive camera gear and all this work experience and all this education, all this investment they had. I had a studio, a full-on video studio, and put a lot of money into making an environment where you can get videos perfect. The background can be perfect. My background's not perfect. It's my office, right? And this is what it has evolved to, because we want connection and we want truth so badly because we've been deceived so badly. And this is what people want to see. And whenever I talk to someone about podcasting, about what to do, how to develop things, what people want to see, this is it. They want to see a face that they trust, hopefully, telling them the truth. And that's it. So when Donald Trump sits in front of someone, you can't argue that the man is the genuine article. You may not like him. A lot of people don't like him. One-on-one people realize Trump is real. Yeah. Because they realize that, hey, what I saw on stage is the exact same thing I'm getting here. I would imagine. I've obviously never met Trump. But I think what they see in public is exactly what he's giving them one-to-one. So, and he's, and Kid Rock, I love what he did. He called Bill Maher's bluff. And Bill Maher, to his credit, took him up on it. And why wouldn't he? He's fully seeing what his side is all about. As bad as he thinks Trump is, it's not as bad as his side, because his side is ridiculous. Now they're burning Teslas and shooting up the dealerships, and who knows? It's just the left has gone full Marxist crazy. And it's so obvious now that even a guy like Bill Maher, and so this is to me like it's a small thing in the grand scheme of things, but I think it signals how radically things have changed, at least since the election. In the last 6 months now, since the election. Was that 6 months ago? Wow. So I will be paying attention to it, see how it goes. And I don't know, no first-hand experience, but I imagine Trump has incredible charisma, and I believe he's truly genuine results or likability. Excuse me. The sick thing is the Dems know they're spewing lies. They know it's not true, yes, because truth is not a left-wing value. That's Dems Prager, the talk show host, one of my favorite guys. That's his saying. Truth is not a left-wing value. So they use lies. And you can go all the way back to Lenin for that kind of thing, all the way back really to Marx and the French Revolution. And are they turncoats? Well, we are seeing lots of turncoats in the Democratic Party. Turncoats to what? To the party itself or to the country? Probably both. The Democratic Party is in really disarray right now. And it's interesting to see a little short California story here. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, has a podcast, and his first guest was Charlie Kirk, conservative talk show guy. So he's at least playing the game too. I trust Bill Maher's sincerity much more than I trust Gavin Newsom's. But Gavin Newsom, after that debacle with the fires in LA, his credibility was so shot that he had to do something. And now he's got this podcast. And the first one, he's doing that weird hand movements and stuff he did during the fires. So I'll have to highlight that maybe next week if I remember. That's how things are changing. Bill Maher is going to meet Trump. Gavin Newsom has a podcast where he's inviting Charlie Kirk on. So it's kind of a new world, new landscape. And I think this kind of thing, this model right here, is really what changed it. And it's amazing to me. It was painful to me because I lost my business because of it. We couldn't, as video professionals with huge investments that we needed to recoup, we couldn't compete with what we're doing right now. It's just, and who knows where this leads. But for now, this is the influencers. That's what we are. We're influencers. Now in this podcast, we don't have much of an influence. Hopefully it grows. But if it's just this, if it's just a hangout with us, so be it. But this is the model that's changing the world right now. It's changing culture and it's changing politics. So, and as the church, we need to realize that because the church in America, especially the evangelical church, is not quite up on this yet. There are Christian podcasts out there, and some of them are very influential with this model. But the church itself is still trying to put forth a really slick product. At least the evangelical churches. If you see, I thought it was just California, but we were in Indiana and Ohio, and I saw lots of really kind of slick churches. Our family went to one on Sunday, and it was the big production, the dark with lights and the smoke machines and the band and the perfect production. And I don't know how much longer that's going to hold, because people are yearning for authenticity, and a lot of that is not necessarily authentic. But the churches are a lot of the problem. Yeah. So, but we talk about that a lot. I'm sure, Gary, I think you or someone else has probably posted this comment several times on my podcast because it always comes back. The other thing I was going to talk about, I had a video, but I won't do that, was this signal chat thing that happened where somehow this reporter got added to a Pete Hegseth. So you have posted that, yeah, before. So this reporter is added to Secretary of Defense chat, signal chat. And what I wanted to say is that people were touting it. Waters from Fox, Jesse Waters had his thing was titled, "Is this the new Watergate?" And I think, or is it at least the next Servergate from Hillary or whatever. And I want to comment on that because I remember Watergate, and I know a lot of you guys probably remember Watergate very well. No, it's not going to be, because of this. The way the media, mainstream, ABC, NBC, CBS, who were the ones back in the day that promoted and caused Watergate. They created the Watergate scandal. If you really look at what happened in Watergate, it was probably something that happened in politics all the time. Nixon's men were just a little clumsy. That doesn't make it right, but don't forget, and this is what I say that I've never heard anybody say, but my theory on Watergate was it's pretty clear and acknowledged that John F. Kennedy stole the 1960 election from Richard Nixon, and Richard Nixon didn't pursue that. For the good of the country, he just said, I'm not going to challenge this. And that was very big of him to do. It was a very significant thing he did. So I think when he ran for president again, the first time and won, and then he probably did a lot of that stuff the first time against Hubert Humphrey, I think it was. But then in 1972, I think he was like, I'm not going to let them steal another election from me. So I think he was keeping tabs on them the whole time. Not to justify it, but it wasn't, it wasn't what the media made it out to be. And if you remember, I'm sure you guys remember, Watergate was nonstop. I was 13, 14 years old. It was nonstop. And I got so tired of hearing it because the media just kept pushing it because they hated Richard Nixon, just like they hate Donald Trump. So, so that was my thinking on that. The answer to that question, is it the next Watergate? I'd say no. So do you guys got any comments on that? It doesn't look like you do, but I know you guys remember it. And this, the only thing I would say about this, it's very suspicious that this guy got on. And that's the thing that I wonder how that happened. And it seems to me that at one point, the Walsh, whoever it was that set up one of Hegseth's assistants, set up this chat, and he's like, I didn't even know this guy. Yeah, Chloe, Watergate was blown way up. Everyone has been so dirty so long, and I'm coming through sticky. I don't know how I'm coming through, but my internet's a little sticky right now. But I want to know how that guy got on that chat, because I think Walsh said, he said, we inherited this from the Biden administration. And I don't know what Signal is. Apparently it's a very secure chat app, I guess. So I don't believe that this rogue reporter was added on by the Trump administration participants. No, why would he be? And I think that's really why the media and the press are making the Watergate thing all blown up and calling for these investigations and calling for firings, because they don't want to look into how this guy got in either. That's the fishy part to me. And that's why I think they're blowing the irresponsibility of it up, which, like I said, I don't know how these things happen, because I would have to do that. I have to understand the technology, and I do not. But are you telling me a guy like that accidentally gets added to a secured chat in the government? I'm not buying it. And I'm a little disappointed in Trump and them saying, oh, he's just a sleazebag reporter. Who cares? Nobody cares. They should get, hey, how in the world did this guy get in our chat? I said, this has got to be some kind of dirty tricks from somebody. And again, this is the deep state he's dealing with. And I don't even know about this guy Walsh. I would take a hard look at him. I don't know who he is. I believe if indeed he was on it, he was added by an insider let us not forget all the suspicions about left insiders and Twitter and Facebook were absolutely true. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Big tech, you tell me they can't do this kind of thing? Yeah, has dim dirt written all over it. They do it, then they blame us. That's exactly right. That's their model, right? So this reporter of all reporters, of anyone could have been, by the way, we never figured out who the Supreme Court leaker was. My point. There's a lot of things we haven't figured out. Bigger than this was Trump's assassination attempt. Do we know anything about that? Has there been any investigation on that? Do we know why they sent him out on that stage, knowing that there was someone out there with a rifle? Knowing there was someone out there on the roof, and they still sent the president out there? And yet nobody wants to, he managed to get by all the security, first of all. And then when they knew he was out there, they still said, yeah, okay. All thumbs up, Mr. President, go out, do your speech, knowing there's a guy. And we hear nothing about this. So nothing wants to be investigated until it's something that could damage Trump, which I guess is the media's playbook. Are we surprised? No. Tender Place, by the way, hello. I didn't say hi to you. Yeah, lie detector, everyone. That I would love to see that. You've got a point. It's hard to get into our Discord without an invite. Okay. Yeah. And we have 3 more years of this BS. Exactly. But Trump is going to bounce off him again, because they don't have the power they used to. And you could tell they want to. They think they still do, because this is their model that's gone back decades, right? And the clips I've seen of CNN and MSNBC, whatever, they're like, it sounds just exactly like it did in Watergate. So, it's so easy for them to flip a switch, check a box, and accomplish these things in tech. Trust me, as a former software consultant, it's easy, no footprint. Okay. It's got to be. I can't not believe, unless this guy Walsh is an insider turncoat, which I don't think. I'm sure he was vetted. And Hegseth seems like the guy that could spot that. It had to be some kind of tech insider that did this. And I don't believe that the media, the left media, didn't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they knew about it in advance. Not saying anything, but I wouldn't be surprised to hear that too, because it just is dirty. It stinks. And so, because either this guy Walsh is a turncoat and he's totally lying, and he secretly invited this guy, but he says he doesn't even have this guy in his contacts. And why would he? Make a Discord and Michael can give you an invite. Okay, I'll check that out. So I will. Yeah, I should join you on the other days. So, but that's kind of all I had to say on that. It smells bad. Big tech is left. Sabotage is the name of their game. Yeah, and they're not. Again, truth is not their value. So if they can get Trump by underhanded means, they'll do it. And it's consistent with their values. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. I said, because we don't understand technology, right? But we will see where it goes. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, because the media doesn't have, the left media doesn't have the power they used to have to shape it like they did at Watergate. And that's why this is not another Watergate. So you heard it here, probably 10th, not first, but 10th. So good to see you guys. And I will be on with Ben tomorrow. So hopefully we'll see you there. Take care.